This is the Wrestling Old Head. You have entered the portal of pro wrestling.
What the world is watching.
What's up, you guys? So I'm back again to try and dissect a little further the promo that The Rock cut this past Friday on SmackDown. Trying to dissect and figure out the insanity is the best part. So you have entered the portal of pro wrestling, and here in Speculation Station, we're going to try and break down a little bit and theorize where this could possibly be headed. The Rock is alluding to the idea of a corporate champion. Now, this is apparently a throwback to when The Rock was the corporate champion at Deadly Games Survivor Series 1998. If that is the case, if we are getting a callback to the WWF's corporation with, I think it was Vince McMahon, the Big Boss Man, Ken Shamrock, The Rock. I mean, there were so many people at one point. I mean, you know, because then they merged. It was the corporate ministry and everything. Like, I mean, at one point, it was a revolving door. So many people in there. But I was trying to think of, like, who they were at the beginning. And I think I nailed most of them, maybe 80% of who was in the corporation at the time. The Rock was the corporate champion, of course. Gerald Briscoe, Pat Patterson, the Stooges, they were the flunkies. So this was The Rock's, you know, this was at his height of being a heel. Now it looks like he's trying to get Cody Rhodes to kind of venture to that darker side, you know, like go in that direction. And it's interesting because they have been alluding to the fact that Cody is cracking under the pressure. You've had things where he's snapped, you know. I mean, and you know, you can argue that the snap was, you know, needed, you know, like the way that he beat Kevin Owens. But even if you go further back, look at the I Quit match between AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. Look what Cody was about to do with AJ Styles in that match, and you can see that that might have been the start of him cracking, you know, under the weight of not only being the world champion, but of being the icon, the showstopper, the top star in the WWE, the headliner, you know. So Cody was showing that sign. Even if you can theorize that he was going back to that point. So in a weakened state, The Rock shows up a year after he told Cody Rhodes that he is not just the crowd's champion, the people's champion, but he also said, "You're my champion." So in this scenario that we're in now, we were given a very cryptic promo. It went in circles a lot, you know, but there was a lot of meat there. And so we're going to focus on the meat. You know, not the bone so much, but we're going to focus on the meat here. We're going to try and theorize if The Rock is trying to recreate the corporation, who would be his corporate champion if Cody Rhodes says no. And stick around because later in the video, I'm going to answer the question that's asked of whether or not Cody says yes. And if he says yes, what would happen from that point. So right now we're going to focus on if he says no. Later on in the video, we're going to focus on if he says yes. So buckle up. So if he says no, if Cody Rhodes at Elimination Chamber does the Ultimate Warrior no, and if he's going to do the Ultimate Warrior no to The Rock, then where is The Rock going to go from here? I assume he's going to grab his people's champion, his corporate champion. And so we're going to go over the list of the guys that it could be. John Cena is number one on the list because that's all I'm seeing now, because people have had it in their head since about January that John Cena is going to win. First it was the Royal Rumble, now the Elimination Chamber, because they've got it in their head that he's got to win now, that they have this idea in their head that John Cena is going to leave after WrestleMania. Oh, it's his last WrestleMania, so he's got to wrestle Cody Rhodes. He's got to be in the main event. He's got to. History shows that you don't always have to be the headliner in your final year all the time, but you do have to have an interesting story. And in my previous video that I'll link here somewhere, you know, top left, top right, wherever, I understand where this story can get really intriguing is if you include John Cena in the mix as someone that is also trying to coax Cody to the dark side. So if he were to join The Rock in this attempt as a two-man power trip to get Cody to become full on corporate and use like Hollywood, like infomercial type, commercial type promos where they're trying to like trick Cody into joining them or whatever. I would like that. I think there's some good stuff there. If, however, John Cena is going to play the angel to The Rock's devil, I also think there is something interesting with that. But as far as being the corporate champion, it doesn't work for me, bro. And I'm going to tell you why. Because The Rock is looking for his future. If he's the director of the board of directors, then he's not going to be looking to crown someone that's on their way out the corporate champion. It doesn't work for me, brother. I don't see it working in that regard. He is, if anything, John Cena will be an agent. He would be a partner in crime, but he wouldn't be the future corporate champion that's going to lead this new faction or lead this new vision that the final boss has as far as how to run things. I don't see that being the case. I think John Cena is bowing out at the end of the year, so he's either going to lose his mind and attempt to, in the moment of snapping and showing his ruthless aggression to try and win his 17th world championship, or he's going to try to stop The Rock from corrupting Cody Rhodes. That's where I think. And number 2 on the list, CM Punk. And I'm just right off the bat, I mean, I'm not going to give you any buildup here. No. Emphatically, no. CM Punk is not the guy that would be the corporate guy. But, and I do mean but, I am going to step out of my CM Punk fandom here, and I'm going to be impartial Marshall, and I'm going to say CM Punk has been looking a little corporate lately. He has been looking a little corporate. I'm not going to lie to you. He's got the hair now. It's got a little bob to it, a little wave going. He's wearing suits. He's speaking corporate lingo. Look, CM Punk came back to the WWE, and if he goes corporate, I could see that. And it would work. And it would work in a way that it wouldn't work with Cody as well with Cody, because Cody is like a year removed from finishing his story and really endearing himself to the WWE universe. The audience loves Cody, but the audience also loves CM Punk, and they have been chanting CM Punk for a long time. And if the WWE is ever going to get away from the fact that CM Punk is getting his cheers, then they're going to have to do something so despicable with his character that they forced to scream CM Punk sucks. And what better way than for him to join the final boss? I think that's a great story that a lot of people are overlooking because they're just like, CM Punk is the man and all this, but he's also 47 like John Cena. Or 45 or something like that. He's close in age to John Cena, okay? And John Cena is on a retirement tour, so we don't have a lot left for CM Punk. And we don't know how much is left in the tank for him as a full-time active professional wrestler. So, CM Punk's dream is to get to WrestleMania and be in the main event and face the champion and then ultimately win the championship. I mean, what better story than for him to sell his soul in order to do it? To do the one thing that Cody Rhodes is not going to do, which is turn his back on the fans and offer himself to the corruption of the final boss. I think that is an amazing story arc. I don't think it fits CM Punk's character brand, okay? Because he's not going to share a drink with The Rock in the middle of the ring. But I would be up for it. But I think it would force me to kind of bend, reality a bit here and kind of and really have to stretch my ability to kind of understand what I'm seeing if CM Punk were to actually go that route. But it would be shocking. Not a lot of people would see it coming. And so I'm okay with that being a possibility. But like I said, I'm picking it apart already in my head. He's not a drinker. He's Punk, through and through. It's in the name. It's in his attitude. So I don't know if that's something that I think they should toy with, but I'm cool if they go in that direction. And number 3 on the list, and I'm only going to do a top 3 here for interest of the video and just kind of keeping things moving. My number 1 option for the corporate champion is Drew McIntyre. And the reason why I see Drew being that guy, being the guy that can be the corporate champion, is Rock gave Drew McIntyre, upon Drew re-signing, a sword. And not just any sword. You know, he gave him the sword, a sword as a token. And ever since then, we have kind of seen a change in attitude with Drew McIntyre. And you know, I think there's something to be said about Drew wearing the suits and speaking the corporate lingo and really selling himself out with The Rock by his side. I think it works. I think as far as the stature of Drew McIntyre, I feel like as far as the stories with Cody Rhodes, with CM Punk, even with Roman Reigns that could potentially unravel with him as the corporate champion, as him as the corporate backer, he's young enough where you can get a lot of mileage out of that story, and this would help propel him to an opportunity to become the world heavyweight champion. I really think that would be good. And the only way that would work is if he won the Elimination Chamber. He has to go to WrestleMania to face the champion. And I believe it's so outside of the box and so unexpected, it really could work. A lot of people probably wouldn't be as excited for a Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre main event at WrestleMania Night 2 as they would be for like Cody and Cena or Cody and Punk. And I get that. But if what you're doing is you're ushering in a new era where the final boss is getting his team together and the quarterback of that team is Drew McIntyre because Cody Rhodes said no, then I think you really have something good that you can work with, and you can capitalize on that attention and bring that feud to its apex. And like you said, like I said, you've got CM Punk in the background, you still got John Cena in the background, you got Roman Reigns, you've got all of these ancillary players that you can still bring in with backstory, with an interesting backstory. And if you don't think there's a backstory in Drew McIntyre and The Rock teaming up to go against Cody Rhodes and CM Punk and all that, you're tripping, because there's a lot of story there. And I think it could be really interesting. I reckon it could be really intriguing. And so I'm okay with that idea. But as far as like the corporate champion goes, let's say Cody Rhodes says yes. Let's say he says yes. And he dyes his hair dark and he does the whole suit thing and he becomes a heel 1 year after he finished his story, and he gets to finally be that heel that we've seen on the Independents, we've seen in Ring of Honor, we've seen in New Japan, we were hinting at seeing it in AEW for a while there, and the crowd was sniffing it a little too early, so they started booing him prematurely. They weren't letting the story play out. Let's say that Cody finally gets to realize that dream of being that American nightmare with the final boss, living up to that moniker, right? Let's say he gets to do that. I like that idea, and if you go back and watch some of my videos before, I've prophesized Cody Rhodes turning heel a long freaking time ago, way before the train started coming off the tracks there with that. If this were to be the story, and when it were if this is going to be when it happens, and Elimination Chamber is the beginning of that, I think Cody Rhodes is a great opponent for him in that regard, more so than John Cena. John Cena is more like putting Old Yeller down, and I don't mean that any disrespect to John Cena, but with CM Punk, you can have a feud for life. You can have a real feud there. CM Punk and The Rock don't like each other. CM Punk can grab John Cena and team with John Cena to go against Cody Rhodes and The Rock. You've got Roman Reigns that could come in and team with CM Punk to go against Cody Rhodes and The Rock. You've got so much potential there. There's so much more to play with. I think if Cody were to actually shake hands, have that toast, and end Elimination Chamber as the corporate champion, corporate Cody, the American Nightmare, then I think you need to have CM Punk win the Elimination Chamber, because CM Punk is so adored by the fans and so loved by the fans. I believe it would take it up a notch bigger than ever before. The crowd would be behind him so crazy. Those CM Punk chants would be deafening for him to come out and try and thwart the attacks of The Rock and Cody Rhodes as they run roughshod over the WWE as a two-man power trip. If anything, and I know it's premature and I know it's a little early, That is something that I am really interested in seeing. But I know it's not going to happen for a long time. They're riding the train right now. He is their quarterback. He's their top guy. And the pop that Cody will get when he inevitably does that Ultimate Warrior no to The Rock is going to be deafening. So, hey, I just thought I hit speculation station with this. You guys let me know what you think. Is the corporate champion going to be Cody Rhodes? And if not, who do you consider Cody, the final boss, The Rock, to look at as his corporate champion? You guys let me know in the comments. Thumbs up on the way out, you guys. And as always, this is the Wrestling Old Head saying, stay tuned for more.